You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show. You're going to get it right here. But before we get into that, we also have some great guests. I don't know if you all been following it, but we're up to, BJ, what? Well over 181 homicides.
Yeah.
181 homicides, of course. Yeah. 95% of them African American. Mm-hmm. We all know that. Seems like nobody wants to talk about what the proper solution is. The chief seems like he is befuddled about it and can't seem to get it together. But what we are finding percolating below the surface are the African American police officers who have been frustrated and disappointed. Now, many of you probably say, what they frustrated and disappointed about? They work for the police department. Yes, they do, but they have a duty. They want to serve. They want to serve. They're trying to serve, but for whatever reason, it seems as if the police department, the chief, is not listening. He's not letting the African American police. They know how to do it. Many of them. I mean, you got people out there that got many years of experience. They know what to do. But, this is a paramilitary organization, so they have to follow orders. They just can't go implement their own plans. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're fortunate enough to have two of the people. One is a retired police officer. I keep calling him Sargent. I don't know why. I think he corrects me from time to time. Mr. Eddie Simmons is a good friend. He calls in, talks to us from time to time. Now, this brother here has a ton of history about the police department and has always been willing to share with us. We also are lucky to have the president of the Black Police Officers Association with us this morning. She's sitting right next to me. To my right, Sargent Heather Taylor. Good morning, Sergeant. How you feeling?
I feel great.
Got over 15 years of being the police. And so they have taken what you call a vote of no confidence. I think this is unprecedented as it relates to the police department. The African American police officers, many instances they've been in existence for a long, long time. The Ethical Society has, but generally, as a general rule, they try not to be so critical. I mean, their interest has basically been in promotions, trying to create opportunities for the African American officers that are there. But now they got the hand up, you all. They got some problems with how this place is governed. And so we've got Sergeant Taylor here with us this morning. Sergeant John, what happened that caused all of this to come about where you all just say, hey, look, enough is enough. We got to say something. So we're going to announce no confidence in the chief?
It took a while for us to come to this decision. We basically sat back and watched after the Mike Brown's death and after the verdict. And at that time, we felt that our community was struggling. We were struggling with some justifiable and unjustifiable officer-involved shootings, which brought about the civil unrest. Mm-hmm. And we knew that we needed to do something because we had a community, mostly African American, who's disenfranchised, that have a lot of issues that are going on that are systemic. However, we felt like on our end as officers, something needed to be done, and it should have been done immediately. It should have been taken serious because our community we are, like you said, most of the homicides, most of the violent crime and things like that are occurring there. And then we have this total disconnect. People don't like us.
Now, wait a minute. B, did you hear that? Total disconnect, not strained, but a total disconnect.
You know what that last statement she said? That is a very big word on the street, that they don't like the police.
Yeah.
It's huge, and that disconnect is there.
But a total disconnect, not strained, but you believe that there's a total disconnect,
yes.
Sergeant.
Yes.
And brought on by?
Both sides.
Okay.
Both sides.
Okay.
The reality is that we have to get ourselves together as African Americans, in our community. We have to stick together and fight for change internally with us. And we're not blaming all of those issues on Chief Dotson or, anyone. But we also see that we as officers need to be led by someone that understands that community and understands that community is reaching out. We have to be engaged with that community, have people on the department that actually represents that community as well, and that are in positions, and those positions are those command rank positions to be the face of the police department, because there are a lot of great cops on this department, both black and white. But when you have the majority of your African Americans who, at this time, this state of policing across the world and in our country, that aren't shown, that aren't allowed to voice their opinion, don't have a seat at the table to make change, and so the community can see us, that's the problem. And
215 officers in your organization.
Yes.
215.
Civilians as well, too. We do have civilians.
Civilians, okay. Now, say, for instance, you've got this vote of no confidence. Chief's not listening. Nobody's paying attention. We got a total disconnect. I know there's several things that you all think you could do to make things better. If you had to announce one or two or implement one or two, what would you do?
Right now, we need to give those. Right now, we have Colonel Ronnie Robinson, who's our only African-American commander. He has very limited resources. He's supervising 1 lieutenant, 2 sergeants, and about 12 officers.
Compared to what?
We have another commander who's supervising 75% of the officers. And this is for community.
75% of the police department?
Yes. And we have Colonel Robinson, who has a small number, but he's supposed to engage our community. That's not a commitment to me from our chief.
Not only Colonel Robinson, one of the things, he's got maybe 25-something years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, he's got 25-something years?
Yes, he does.
Okay. All right, then. And my understanding is that Robinson is the police. Because when we're talking about being out in the street, Robinson talks to the young men. He's out there with the gangs. He talks to them and tells them what we expect and lays out the rules, and they understand that. They really do.
Yes, they do.
So here's somebody that has all of this knowledge and has all of this experience that they don't let him do his job.
Exactly.
That's basically where we at.
The cronyism. Okay. That's what it is. And you have, and under him, and just recently we had a meeting 2 weeks ago before the press conference, asking Chief Dotson to put 6 detectives back on the street. They had been removed from basically an undercover capacity with gang squads. These 6 detectives brought in homicide suspects, helped us with follow-ups, did a lot of great things that were helping our community. And you have to get back, and in that meeting, I kept repeating, it's about victims. Right. In this meeting with Chief Dotson, and that right there is alarming, that I have to bring them back to that point. But it's about victims. It's about people that help us from being victimized over and over. And this is what these 6 detectives did. They were put in a uniform car. Yeah, they're officers. They have to patrol like everyone else. However, you see the greater good that they're doing, which is helping our community as a whole. You leave them there because they have that rapport. They're able to talk people out of picking up guns and going and retaliating in a drive-by shooting and killing someone, innocent or otherwise involved. You need those people. And when you don't, you have someone in position that doesn't understand that, and that lets cronyism rule the day, you hurt it. Forget about us as cops right now. Our job is to protect and serve.
When you say cronyism, what do you mean by that?
Putting people in positions that are not qualified for those positions.
But put them there just because you have some type of relationship with them. Is that basically what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay. Brother Simmons, you've been on long time, long time. Retired, but still didn't give up. Still engaged.
Yes, sir.
With the community. Didn't just
Absolutely.
get in your car and drive off into the sunset. You're
Yes, sir.
a visible presence in our community. What are your
What
are your observations?
Look, anytime you have a chief that has total disconnect, as Madam President to my left just said, you got problems. And when you talk about cronyism, I'm talking about one of his people, one of his left-hand men, Colonel Kuntz. Colonel Kuntz is over the Bureau of Operations, Evidence Management. That's the academy, the airport. He has all power. He has all power. Colonel Ronnie Robinson, is over nobody. This man, as she stated, he's over hardly. He made a job. I'm giving you some crumbs. That's what Sam Dotson did. I'm giving you some crumbs. You got a position, no power. See, black people under his command, they don't have power. They have positions. He made him a job. And then what's really, listen to me, what really, really, really just messed me up was when Dan Howard took this money. Now, this is just me. I don't believe the man worked not 1 hour for that money it was from the...
Who is Howard now? What does he do?
Downtown Partnership, Dan Howard.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
the Downtown Partnership.
Yeah.
Now you know that's a story in and of itself. They're the ones that have a special taxing district,
right?
That get special tax revenue,
right?
Public dollars,
right?
To operate this invisible little operation that they have down there.
He was not even supposed to work that. This man made over $10,000, and you know what Chief Dotson did? He made history. He did an investigation to Dan Howard that lasted maybe 2 weeks at the most, and then promoted him to major.
And this Downtown Partnership,
yes, sir.
Hold the phone. This is the same organization that is organized, and one of their functions, and it's not written, but one of their functions is to drive African American youth out of downtown. That's why they don't have the clubs down there that have those nights, urban nights, where they remember how the young kids used to come down and be the whole downtown Washington Avenue would be packed.
Yep.
Those bars were making $7,000-8,000 on that one particular night.
Sir.
They'd rather not have black kids down there and not make the money. This is some of the functions of Downtown Partnership.
Yeah.
Chief
Dotson got to go. I'm for real. He got to go. You hear me, boss?
You know what?
He got to go, man.
Look, they drove that chief out in Chicago just last week.
Out of there, man.
The mayor, it's not like they said, well, the Chicago police chief is leaving, which is what you gracefully do. They said he's fired.
Gone.
In
Get
Chicago.
Out. Bye.
He said he's fired, not he's gone. He's leaving at the beginning of the year. He's decided to move on. No, they say he's fired.
The one that you really like to use, he has health problems. No.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's the one you use all the time. Yeah.
So are you seeing some type of scenario? Because I understand that they had some community commitment meeting last week or so where the mayor and the chief had missed the meeting. Then they showed up at this last meeting, or the mayor showed up and they said, well, where's the chief? The mayor said, what'd he say?
The mayor said.
What the mayor say?
I don't know what the chief said.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, the Ferguson Commission. Look, Obama had something. It shows you how they don't care.
Right.
Obama had something to do with all this. They don't care, man. We don't care about you. They didn't even come to that meeting. I was at a meeting, the 27th Ward at New Northside, the community center. Place was packed. You hear me? Mm-hmm. Packed. At the last minute, the mayor didn't come. He probably drove by and saw all them cars out there, so I ain't going up in there. No, they didn't even come. We have so much disrespect, but you see when they have their meetings on the south side, he's right down front with his bottle of water, sitting right down front.
Okay,
yeah.
Right down front with the bottle of water.
With a bottle of water. Yes, he is. Yes, sir, with a bottle of water. So he ain't got to get up and miss anything. We get total disrespect. I have lived in my house in the 27th Ward for 27 years. Man, I care about just like they do.
That's right.
See, this is where all attention's going to, people. Over in the Central West End, they do not want to be called the 5th District. They don't want to be called the 5th District. You know what they're getting? They're working hard for the Entertainment District. They want their own police to stay right there and protect them.
And see, in the Central West End, this is the same area where our young man that was on here with us last week.
Yeah, right.
Week before last.
A couple of weeks ago.
Area where, because a young white girl got killed, they were in such a hurry, such a rush to judgment,
Get it done.
such a chance, they wanted to have somebody charged, that they charged him.
Yeah.
They violated his rights, locked him up. How long was the young guy in jail?
I think he was 3 years.
3 years.
Do we have rights?
I would say, do we have rights?
I was checking.
So now, again, in terms of the focus, and are you talking to the chief? You trying to give him advice? You putting your hand up? Any memos saying, hey, this is what we recommend?
Yeah. Go ahead. That's you. Go right ahead, Jerry.
Absolutely. We've met with them. We voiced our concerns that we have about promotions. 1 out of in 18 months, 1 African American has been promoted to lieutenant. 14 white lieutenants have been made.
Got to go.
That's a problem. We don't look like the community in which we're policing. We don't have a say-so. We voiced our concerns about eliminating potential hirees for police officers because we had one young kid who threw up the 3-point symbol sign. That's something notorious with anybody that plays basketball. It's, 2-hand signs, and it's every time you make a 3, you do this. So this kid is in a photograph doing that. And the disconnect with having investigators that eliminated him from contention, we're still fighting with him to become
not
a police
understanding
officer.
culture.
Not understand that. And then we had an African-American sergeant at the police academy, Angela Taylor. We had a female who came in looking to be hired. Her husband was in the military. She traveled throughout the country, and she's divorced. And she came in to do this push-pull machine, which is weighted. Very heavy, very difficult for women to do it. It's hard for us. And she failed it. So we took it upon ourselves, her and Angela Taylor and Kenny Moore, to help her because she was a great candidate. Angela Taylor got written up for helping her. We had another sergeant assigned to the police academy. He's white, or he's no longer there. He did the same thing. Nothing happened to him.
Nothing.
We have issues.
Can you all stay over with us?
Yes,
I know
absolutely.
you got a lot of stuff going on. Can we come back after we get that out, and we'll take all of the 11 o'clock hour?
Yes, sir.
And then we'll open up the lines because the people want to talk to you. Let's get back with the Sargent Heather Taylor as well as Eddie Simmons. I know that we have some people out there that have constantly coming up to me talking about these police issues. And the police officers, Sargent Taylor, the president of the Ethical Society, as well as Eddie Simmons, have stayed over. And we're going to go from the rest of this segment all the way up till noon, talking about the police department, talking about police issues. The black police officers have announced a vote of no confidence in the chief of police. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important issue because it affects all of us. And this whole issue about crime, how the African-American community is being treated by the police department, it appears that the Police Ethical Society is stepping up to the plate, calling for greater accountability. Sergeant, I know as president, and you got family. So how does your family respond to you being a police officer and being the president of the association? They say, y'all ain't doing nothing with the, we got all this stuff going on out here. What are you all doing? I mean, how do you interact with your peers, your family members, and other folks?
Well, the first thing is that they can't say that we're not doing anything.
Okay.
Just recently, we have community service events we do. Gave away 20 turkeys to families that were definitely in need just recently. We do a lot of work with the homeless, feeding them. Right now we have an initiative going where we're collecting scarves, hats, gloves for
Coats?
Coats,
Mm-hmm.
not coats.
No
but
coats.
We wish we could
Okay.
get some donations. We get them. We're going to give them to them.
Okay.
To our homeless and our children in the area. We're involved with Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Okay.
We have a lot of board members who are active with children, coaching, mentoring, things like that. We were able to fight and place Perry Johnson in the juvenile position where he's initiated programs called Stop.
Good guy.
Students talking it over with police officers. We've been able to get him there. It was a fight, but we were able to get him there to implement programs that are geared towards us talking, accepting responsibilities for our mistakes, and also communicating with children in our schools with gang resistance, education, and training, which is huge, stopping our kids from being involved in those systemic factors associated with gangs and poverty and those things. So we're heavily involved. So they're my family, my friends, they're proud of us.
Okay, good. Let me ask you about this statement. It's an article in the St. Louis American. Rebecca Rivas, she's a very good journalist, and she interviewed you, and it seems like one of the key things that you had to say to her was after the Mike Brown decision and all of the protests and things that were taking place in Ferguson, you said Dotson needed to make community engagement a priority. And is that because are you saying that because you feel that he has not done that?
I don't think he has.
Okay, all right.
We it was a fight. We originally voiced our concern about several people, commanders that were qualified for that position.
Right.
And he chose someone. This was
what position now?
It's a lieutenant commander spot for that community engagement.
Okay. Oh, that is a actual position.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And we fought over it. We wanted commanders. There were quite a few that were qualified, both black and white, who were involved in our community, and we recommended them because of their ability to motivate officers
right.
and their ability to connect with the community.
Right.
And we were denied that. We asked in that alternative to get Perry Johnson involved in juvenile. It was a fight. We got him there because his resume, he had the resume for it. So that's what we wanted. People who had the resume, that were respected, that would understand the need for it. That's what we wanted.
And the position went to who?
It went to another lieutenant, Janice Bachstra.
Okay. And in terms of the comparison of the qualifications and ability to the person that you were recommending, it just wasn't there.
It wasn't there.
It just wasn't happening.
And Perry Johnson, he's worked on the Citizens Academy with our police department. He coaches basketball, football. He has all of these things. He's actually created lesson plans that the academy understands, grant writing. He has all of these things that you need, and he's liked in the community. So he had all of these variables, people like him. That's what we wanted, someone like that. And we're not saying that Janice Bachstra was terrible, but for that position, it was someone that was close to him, and he told us he was going to promote her.
Okay.
And he promoted her to captain. And
captain.
And so he told us that
He told you that.
absolutely that wasn't going to happen, and told me to pick my battles.
He told you to pick your battles. Meaning you better watch out. That's basically what he's saying to
Basically,
Your back.
Yeah.
Basically.
Brother Simmons, as a person that is kind of, you've been a police officer, but you also watch the police department and city politics. This whole thing, it appears as there a rift developing between the mayor and the chief because, people look to the mayor to solve the crime issue. And then the mayor then looks to the chief, and ultimately, when we continue at the rate we're going, we're at 181 homicides, people calling the mayor out. And then like this last event where the first one, neither the mayor nor the chief shows up. The next one, then the mayor shows up, and people ask him, where's the chief? And he said, I don't know. Now, that's pretty telling.
Look, Freeman, like I had on my Facebook page, because I try to keep everybody informed on what's going on downtown.
Right.
The chief, he is very, very, listen to me, people. He is very, very effective with crime statistics on paper.
Okay.
But when he takes it off paper and takes it to the street, zippo, absolutely nothing. That's why I keep telling people he's got to go. He is in a job.
You think the chief needs to go?
Oh, yeah, look, he's in a job way over his head. Listen, African American, he has so much talent in black people. Perry Johnson, oh my God, Freeman, you got to get Perry in the show.
Okay, can you make that
brother.
happen? Can you all work with that?
I'm gonna make it happen.
All right.
Perry's got to come on your show. This brother traveled to, I can't think where he went out. He went out of town to speak at this big forum. Everybody's grabbing for this brother, but you know what?
What?
He's in the closet here.
Right.
The chief refuses. For those
To
of you
recognize.
who came on late, you got to hear this. You got to hear this, people. Listen to what Eddie Simmons is saying. Ronnie Robinson, this man is brilliant.
No,
This
he is the
is
police.
This is
we know,
a man that's been in the community,
I know Ronnie.
been out in the field, been in the trenches.
Yeah.
And Chief Dotson has put that man under the command of 1 lieutenant, 2 sergeants, and 13 officers on a grant position that's made a grant position the Metrolink. This man got a colonel, people listen, a colonel doing less work than what some police officers are doing. That's what our chief does. And let me tell you about one more thing. This man, the chief of police, got on KMOX and said 36% of promotions are African Americans.
36%.
36%. Do you know who he's talking about, people? This man is talking about police officers, kids that don't know nothing in the academy that's coming out from police, from cadets to police, from PPOs to police officers. That is not a promotion. He's, like I say, people, trickery, bamboozle.
Let me tell you something about Ronnie Robinson, what he did one time. You don't probably want me to tell you this. He when the stuff was really going down and there was a lot of big problems and a lot of gang fighting and homicide over off of West Florissant back over in the 3rd Ward and the 21st Ward. I mean, it was really rough. He called me one day. He said, I need you to help me with something. I said, what's that? He said, some of this stuff is just getting out of hand. He said, I got my finger on the pulse of a couple of the key perpetrators here. We can't really get them to do what we want them to do. He said, but through my conversation, one of them just blurts out, man, y'all trying to get us to stop all of this, and my mama's electricity is off. He said, can you help me get this guy's electricity back on? His mama's electricity back on. He said, now wait. He said, this is not my job as a police officer. He said, but I believe that if I can take this extra step, I can diffuse this situation. Yeah. We got on the phone. We got over to Ameren. Ameren was able to, through these programs, the lady was eligible for money, but nobody stepped through this. We got the electricity issue resolved and got her money for gas and everything else. Ronnie Rock, with that single event right there, diffused a whole bunch of craziness that was getting ready to take place over by the old Fallon Park area. So this is what some of the things that real police will try to do, not necessarily try to threaten. So, hey, man, y'all gonna get in real trouble. We locking you up. You're going downtown. Just trying to say, hey, look what we're doing. Ronnie Robinson has those conversations with young men.
I agree. I've worked for Colonel Robinson before undercover, and a lot of things we did were, of course, anybody that was doing wrong, not everyone, you would go to jail.
Yeah.
However, there were times where jail was not applicable to that person.
Right.
Where you had to do things and to talk to them, to talk to a family member or do something or give them a resource. And a lot of times it involved giving resources to them to help them. And that's what he does.
Yeah.
That's what it actually, in reality, a lot of us do that as officers. It's, black and white. I can't
it's
say
part
this
of social work. It's
exactly.
it's a little social work involved.
And you got to put people in positions like that. You got to have these people at the forefront who look like that community, who care, who are engaged and involved. It's critical.
And that's what he will do. I mean, and so we got to go to a break. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we're going to take some calls. We want you to get it in. We got the police in the studio with us. You can call in and get those questions. Keep it on lock. We'll be right back. Quit playing. Give it to me. Good morning. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KATZ 1600 AM. I know the chief is not holding up well under this type of conversation. And did he actually rebuke you, or did he Eddie what was he I didn't see a response, but he responded, or did he try a preemptive strike on the announcement?
Yes, right after the ESOP had their vote of no confidence, Sam came on TV, and to me what he did was threaten our president. What he said was she was disrespectful to all the men and women that wear this uniform, that do this job. So what he's doing is trying to get everybody against her for speaking out. See, that's what they do, because it's a clear and present danger with what she's doing. Because
it's
when
retaliation.
You speak out, see, I know.
Retaliation.
Because, the past chief, he came and took $30,000 out of my pocket, people. You hear what I'm saying, people? $30,000 because I had a press conference about a monkey the white folks were hanging up.
I remember that.
Hanging up for Christmas decorations.
I remember that.
And I went out there and got it. And he went, and Dan Isom wouldn't do anything about it. So he sent his cronies after me and transferred me out of my good job, But he said if I do the press conference that Monday, I will be gone. So I did it Friday. I didn't wait till Monday. I did it Friday because you can't threaten me. Just like he can't threaten Madam President sitting right here because she's strong. And she has followers behind her because what she's doing is so important about the police department, about the city, about the community, because people, we're left out. And all them bootlickers out there waiting in that nest with their mouths open like a bird, waiting for the mother to drop that worm, see who can get it. That's what they're doing. Bootlickers, and you know who you are. I can't stand a bootlicker. But Madam President right here is doing an excellent job. I am so proud of her. Let me tell you something about this lady right quick. When I was the president, she and I bumped heads. You know what? But guess what I did?
What?
I told everybody I got to have her on my board because she's smart. It ain't about Eddie Simmons.
Right.
And I don't want people like Sam. See, Sam wants people surrounding him. That's why he's a failure, because he got people around him telling him all wrong advice. Man, you missed the boat. I know you listening. You missed the boat. You should have all the black. Man, you got a black problem, Sam. You're not black.
Yeah. And instead of, I guess, trying to resolve the problem with Sargent Taylor and the Ethical Society, I guess he basically, the response that you say, Madam President, is that he told you need to pick your battles.
Pick your battles.
Yes.
Yeah. But see, then I'll see that Rebecca Rivas at the American went back to him and said, "Can you explain to us that statement, or did you actually make that statement?" And the American states that Dotson did not reply to the American's request for comment regarding the statement that he made to Taylor. He wouldn't address it. And,
about after we had that conversation, about 90 days, not 90, maybe a month and a half later, one of our other board members received a message that was passed on from a commander, and it was pretty much the same thing. Be careful, because you never know who's going to be in a position over you, pretty much. And I took that as a threat as well, but it didn't stop.
So this is a second comment.
Yes, from the same, office, under him, people under him directly. And what he did, when he first got wind of our concern with that community engagement and lack of community engagement, problems with promotions, African Americans not getting promoted to command rank positions, problems with homicides, because we have right now 21 homicide detectives. I'm a sergeant on night watch in homicide, and we have 21 homicide detectives. We have 60 intelligence detectives, and some of them are my friends. However,
now let us understand. See, that's intelligence. Now, what is that? That's an interesting
I was just
title.
about to ask that question.
They work directly for the chief. They work directly for the chief.
And how many of them is it?
60.
Okay, intelligence like what? I mean, are they like with the
organized crime, things like that? Human trafficking, which should fall up under sex crimes, because those detectives are very well versed in that. And most of the issues with him are internal practices, because how can we adequately do follow-ups? I have a detective with 19, one with 17 homicides. How can we adequately do follow-ups and respect those who have been murdered if we don't have enough detectives?
Well, how we? Why do we need 60 intelligence detectives? What are they detecting?
Part of the problem with Chief Dotson is that the reality is Chief Dotson has never been a detective. One of those, he's an administrator, and when you don't clearly understand criminal behavior, you haven't been out there, you're not connected to that community, and the reality is internally. He's
never really been out in the street before. Is that what you're saying?
He's been an administrator, and he
all
doesn't
of his
understand
career.
All of his career.
Not policing. It's like administration.
Paperwork, stuff like that.
Bureaucracy.
And there's a need for that. However, you need to be well-rounded as chief. We had hoped that Mayor Slade would have put someone in that position that understood the rank and file officers and understood the importance of eliminating cronyism and favoritism and all of that. Somebody that was an investigator that understood how to fight crime, how to prevent it in some instances, and understood the systemic problems and how important it was for diversity. And he didn't give us that. And it's just affected morale internally, our ability to police, or right now, over half of our guys don't have riot gear.
Ladies and gentlemen, 333-8160, 333-8160. We got the police in the studio right here, right now. Good morning. You on the air. What's your question or comment? You on the air.
He that has an ear to hear, please let him hear. Good morning, Free, and to your host.
How's it going?
it's going just as it's supposed to go. I want to say this. Last week we were talking about the fire incident, and I failed to mention how we all should have fire extinguishers in our home as well. They cost about $10 or $15. That small amount of money can help save a life as well. When I renovate a kitchen for a customer, I always take a little small money and just install a fire extinguisher. So that goes a long way. Here also with the panel that we have, I did not know what you just said about in terms of at a Christmas party, they hanging a monkey on a Christmas tree. See, this type of stuff, okay, we know about it, and it's prevalent, and it is there. People with powers that be, they always are doing things that are so asinine and so stupid. But yet and still, how do you get into these positions? I would like to ask the guest there, I think it was about a year ago, when a police officer, one of your co-workers, I think he was in South St. Louis, and he was threatened by the other police officers if he was to say anything.
Oh, God, yeah. Remember that case? What was it? The young man raised some issues about something over there at the district in South St. Louis. He was by himself, and he wanted to get transferred because of fear that they were going to do something to him. Remember that?
He with that investigation is still going on, so we can't discuss
and
the particulars.
who's investigating that? The damn intelligence unit with the 60 intelligence detectives?
Internal Affairs Division and Intel.
Let us see how long that investigation going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Here, and I'm glad that we got to this point. Remember, when I was mayor, they used to have to give a report of the attorney. Hold on 1 minute. They used to have to give a report of the number of investigations that were going on and the number of complaints that were been filed. It'd be 300-400 complaints that had been filed, and 2 years old, they still hadn't gotten to them.
See, they turned the investigation on to the brother. They're investigating him, not who was.
Oh, they flipped the script
I
on it.
remember that.
They
I remember
that.
that.
Oh, yeah, that's what you do.
Okay.
You
All right, Heat.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks,
man.
Reese.
All right, man. Thank you for calling, bringing that up. Yeah, it's kind of like it's been swept up under the rug.
Oh, definitely so. But see, you see how long investigation's going on? But with Dan Howard,
They got right to it,
took
didn't
off-
they?
got right to
Got
it and
right to
promoted
it.
him.
Good morning. You on the air. What's your question, comment? Hello.
Yes, good morning. I'm not that apt when it comes to city government, but isn't my understanding that the mayor has a lot to do with the selection of who a police chief is?
Well, it used to. He does now, but for many years, the selection of the police chief was done by the Board of Police Commissioners, which is a 4-member commission appointed by the governor, with the mayor being on it. But now the city does. You are correct. The city has control over the police department. So the mayor and the director of public safety do control who is the chief of police as we talk right now.
Okay, well, with that being said, then the whole issue about this chief that does not have background with being a police officer, then that's a leadership issue with the mayor of the city, because in the school district where I teach, we're in the process of selecting a new superintendent. And there's no way in the world that we would select someone to be the head of an entire school district who does not have teaching experience or administrative experience at the building level.
Come on.
This man only has administrative experience.
Yeah, you got it in. You just got it in.
Okay, that's not even logic, and no wonder the
I was going to ask.
Thank you for your call.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
How does something like that happen?
Well, this, and they know, and they're not saying right now, it's highly political. The selection, I've been part of selecting a chief before, so I know it's about the votes. If 5 people vote, if the one with the most votes wins, you need 3 votes to make a chief.
You can learn.
You need 3 votes to make a chief. Yeah, used to. I mean, it's been times we picked a chief. And a lot of times it was qualifications, but it's also somebody that we feel comfortable with. You see what I'm saying? And you got state reps, state senators saying, hey, I want so-and-so to be the chief. I want so-and-so to be chief. And it's political. It is.
Well, what about this? Do they ever take into consideration when they're selecting the chief who the community will be comfortable with?
You do, but in the overall scheme of things, it's who we want. All right? Yeah, we take into consideration what the community is saying and what the community is interested in, but at the end of the day, it's who we want. Yeah. That's how that go. Whoever the chief is the chief because we wanted them to be the chief.
No matter what.
That's how that go.
No matter
Yeah.
what.
All right. 333-8160. Time for a break. Another one? Oh, man. We just getting good. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to go to a break. Keep it on lock. We'll be right back with Plan. You know, one of the things I wanted to talk about is we had a big deal about those church fires, you know, and they were trying to figure out who was doing them, where they were going down, and how was the police department responding to the church fires?
Well, we know that our chief didn't respond to the first few fires. I think it was like 5, maybe not a few, but about 5 in North St. Louis. However, we had an arson at a church, historic Catholic church. He responded to that.
Well, wait a minute. You say he didn't respond. How do we know he didn't respond? What do you mean? Publicly?
He didn't go out to the scenes on those.
Oh.
He did come to the scene for the Catholic church fire.
Oh, he went to that
Where
scene.
was that one located?
That one was located, I can't remember, it's
Is it
in
downtown? Yeah.
St. Louis?
Downtown.
Shrine of St. Joseph's?
Yeah.
Lafayette Square.
Lafayette Square. We can go over there, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Go over there.
See, Freeman, I put on my Facebook page that as long as the fires are north, the chief ain't everything's gonna be
So they
fine.
could have burned all the
I
churches
said,
down.
but if he ventures over to where the white folks live at and where they worship God, you know, something's gonna happen. And you know what? The next day, a white church got burned, and the next day, Sam Dotson in pajamas was out there. Oh yeah.
Wait a minute. Come on.
got-
In pajamas.
In pajamas.
Wait, come on. Did he have a star? Did he have a chief star on with the?
He was
In
there.
pajamas?
Was it Mickey Mouse?
And the mayor gave unlimited overtime.
Well,
Unlimited
was it-
overtime.
was it
That's what I
Snoopy?
doing.
What kind of
Was it
pajamas
Snoopy
was
or
it? What kind
Charlie
of pajamas
Brown?
was it?
Superman, I'm not
Son,
Had an S on the
come
chest.
on now. Hey, now wait, see, guys. Hold on, wait. Here, one of the things about this is we try to make sure we have facts. I mean, this is.
We have facts.
The-
He went pajamas. I
Okay.
I closed my eyes and I had a dream.
Okay. So he wasn't in the pajamas,
No, he
but
wasn't
he,
in the pajamas.
but he was there. He was there.
But was it early in the morning?
Early.
So I get what he's saying.
Okay.
But
I got
basically, what he's saying, he was there with pajamas
With
on.
all deliberate
meaning-
speed, just stopped whatever he was doing to get there.
Right. So he just
Yeah.
got there, and it was early in the morning. Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
He had pajamas.
All right.
Okay.
I get it. I get it.
So-
All right, man. We on the countdown.
Oh, we got to
Man,
we
we
can
on the
wrap
countdown,
up.
bro.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you. We're going to let Sergeant Taylor take us out in terms of just your mission. What are you hoping to accomplish, and just the fact that you got a problem with the chief.
And what we hope to accomplish is build a better relationship with our community. That needs to be number one priority, because we're always one officer involved shooting away from civil unrest. And if we don't get ahead of it and reach our, teach our officers as well better, and also to teach, get involved with our community, we're close to that mark again, and we don't want to repeat that. We don't want to be the face of the nation for police brutality, civil unrest anymore. We don't want that. And we need Chief Dotson to understand he had the potential to get ahead of this, and he failed our community. We want also for the face of our department, faces of our department to look like our community, half and half, and we also want it to be a priority with promotions, that we aren't under subjective promotional processes. They're no longer under Chief Dotson now. An official lieutenant and captain's process in 2016 will be under the city control.
Yes,
which is good, because we all know that we didn't get promoted under him these last 3 years. So, as a whole, what we're hoping for is to build morale, to stop our officers from traveling 15 minutes between calls. Our officers are overwhelmed. They feel unimportant. Just with him calling us slugs, that didn't do anything to improve our relationship. But we also want, our officers to feel like they're appreciated, that we're not overwhelmed with calls and no help. We want more officers hired, and that to be a priority. We also want crime prevention and putting follow-ups in place with detectives and bureaus all around. So our goal is, as a whole, is to improve morale, eliminate cronyism, make the community a priority one.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, she's firm, she's committed, she's dedicated. The sister Madam President, standing up for all of us, trying to make sure we have a better place here in this community. We want to thank you, Sergeant Taylor, as well as Officer Simmons, retired, for being with us. And we had a pretty good show. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show. Catch us every Saturday. You got to tell your friends. Every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on KATZ 1600 a.m. Quit playing.